In this video, you're going to learn how to count every time a button is clicked in your app. Let's do it! Hey there friends, my name is Darren, and one thing you might or might not know about me is I love to challenge myself. I love to set goals for myself and to work towards them and achieve them. And one of my challenges was starting this YouTube channel. So if you like what I do on this channel, consider subscribing. But in this video, we're going to challenge the player to complete the maze in less moves by showing them how many moves they've made so far in the maze. So if they complete it once, maybe we should challenge them to complete it in less moves. But this is just one piece to our entire Maze Game app series. So if you want to check out other pieces of the app, be sure to check out all the videos in this series. Links for this playlist are down in the description. Now let's get down to the tutorial. So the good thing is that this is pretty straightforward. From the design tab, all we're going to do is create a label to display the count to the user. So in this video, we are finishing out this third section of the maze screen. Let's go ahead and rename this to label moves. So this will be our moves, not movies, moves label. We'll set the text to moves. We'll do a colon there and a 0. We'll set the font size to 24, the color to white, and yep, I think that looks pretty good. So now let's jump over to the blocks. So since this is a dynamic piece of content, we're going to need a variable to store this from the code side. So I'll go ahead and create a new variable and we can call it move count. And we will set this initially to 0. So what we want to do is every time the player makes a move, so every time they click a button to move, we want to update this count and then update the label that displays this count on the screen. So it sounds like we're going to be calling this a few times. So let's go ahead and drop this in a function. So we'll create a new function and I'll call this increment move count. All right, in this function, we're going to update the label with whatever the current count is. So let's go and find the label. So we have label position here and label moves down at the bottom. So from label moves, set the text to, and we're going to use another text join statement so that we can display both text and what is stored in our variable. So I will set this to moves colon space, and then get rid of this, and then in this other join spot, I'm going to drag in the variable app move count. Then the next piece of incrementing is just updating the count itself. So we'll increment it by 1, change by 1, and that should do it for our function increment move count. Now when we haven't set an event for this to happen, we haven't called the function. We want this to happen every time that the player makes a move or changes their position. So your first instinct might be to actually call this function every time in each of these when button click blocks. But we're already calling the display current cell function in each of these. I'll expand one of these to show you. So in each of these, we change the position and then display current cell. So the efficient way that I'm choosing to do this is to call increment move count inside of display current cell, and this is probably the lowest priority as far as load speed. We want to definitely update the buttons and everything first. So I'm going to choose to put increment move count down at the bottom of this function. All right, and the last thing, just for safety or sanity measures, is to always reset the move count to 0 every time the player comes back to the screen. So we'll go ahead and set choose a set block, set move count to duplicate 0. So again, this is just for future-proofing ourselves. We always want to set this move count to 0. And I think that should do it as far as our counter. So we created a variable to store it. We are incrementing on it every time a button is clicked. We call display current cell, which calls increment move count, which updates the label, then changes the label. And then every time the player comes back to the screen, we always set it back to 0. So now I believe we are ready to check this out within the app. Alrighty, so let's take a look. So on our screen, let's begin. So now we see the label down at the bottom with moves 0. And if we select up, we should see us move position. So the button's updated, but it doesn't look like our position updated, and the moves are looking kind of weird. Let's see if I go over. Yeah, nothing is updating. Oh, all right. This definitely is not what I expected. So let's go look at the code and see if I made an error. All right. So again, just looking at the details app, move count set to 0. That's good. Set move count to 0 on startup. So again, just our safety measures there. That's good. Increment move count, label text to, we have move count here. Oh, here it is. So change X by 1, that needs to be app move count. So we were updating our position when we did not need to be, and that would definitely cause some issues. So let's take a look back at that now. All right, let's begin. Okay, again, things are looking good. We'll move up. All right, see, now our moves are updating every time we move positions. Good deal. So now let's go back home, and when I come back to that screen, the moves should be set back to 0. Good deal. All right, this is another example that we should always be testing our code, and that even guys like me, we still make mistakes. So now, every time the player moves in the maze, we are incrementing and showing them the count of their moves. Pretty cool, right? Well, you know what else is cool? I have created a step-by-step guide showing you how to create this entire app in Thunkable. If you haven't checked that out, I would encourage you to follow the link in the description. And you know what else you should, and you know what else you should do for yourself is enjoy coding. Coding is so much fun. I love solving problems, and that's why I say happy coding.